it's Jennifer here from Belladonna's Botanicals, and today I'm doing a video on what are demons, myths, superstitions, and the appropriation of evil. And some of this spawned by I'll put a link below. I recently did a podcast with S. Connolly talking a lot about demonolatry and things like that. So one of the things we talked about a little bit were what are demons, and this is something because there's a lot of myths, superstition, and evil surrounding what we think of as demons. And let's get into that a little bit. So, as you probably know, if you watch this channel, I practice demonolatry. I do other types of magic too. I tend to be a little bit more on the left hand path side of things in my occult practices, but that is not mutually exclusive. I work with all types of spirits, different practices and traditions, things of my own. I work with my own spirit guides, my higher self, ancestors, things like that as well, because a lot of it is about developing your own personal pantheons. And I do have a video from last year or earlier this year, maybe I think it was last year, about King Paimon and building your personal pantheons, which is something that is talked about a lot in demonolatry. Um, so what I think of when I think of spirits, because we've got so many different classifications, and guess what? Those are all human classifications. We've got demons, angels, gods, god forms, goddesses, deities, down to things, fae, and everything there in what all the names we have for the types of spirits that are out there in any type of spiritual practice, even religions. So what I tend to think of spirits is I tend to think of them as divine intelligences, and this includes demons too, or the demonic divine as we like to call them. And that's in addition to all these other types of spirits. So some of this, the first few things I want to point out is some of this comes from uh, the area of demonolatry. These two or three things coming up are from demonolatry.org. I think it's a demonolatry primer. Just to give a couple little like brushstroke definitions of things, and that demons as divine intelligences are a manifestation of pure energy, neither good nor evil. It's energy. Much of what humans consider to be good or evil is based on our perception and experiences with spirits that stems from religious indoctrination and the inherent superstitions and the need for fear-based religion. That's what a lot of this comes down to. And some people view demons as very real entities with personalities and consciousness. And I think I fall a little bit more into it's sort of a multifaceted area. I do think of them as they're energies, but they're energies that if we need them to appear to us in a human form so that we can understand and interact with them better, that's what they'll do. The spirit world works with you based on your lived experiences and visual frame of reference. So that's one way to look at it. There also can be a manifestation of an embodiment of an emotion, elements, planets, an idea, things of that nature. And and some are considered to be sentient or real deities or god forms or goddesses or things like that as well. And we'll get into that a little bit. Well, others are simply, when we think of it, sometimes the demonic, we look at our inner demons, daemons, and stuff like that comes a little bit from the philosophical and psychoanalytical aspect. So those are some perspectives on when people talk about demons, what we're talking about. And in demonolatry, to that type of practitioner, and it's different than other people that might be working with demons or the demonic divine. Because there's a lot of different traditions that do work with it. I mean, whether you're a theistic Satanist, non-theistic, Luciferian, into black magic and sorcery, anything like that. You might be working with demons in there, whether you're a ceremonial magician or OTO or Thelema. There's a whole lot of different aspects here to look at. So, and on demonolatry.org, how they define that is divine intelligences replete with wisdom. That's what the demonic divine are in demonolatry practices, because they represent the, maybe darker, sometimes misunderstood, hidden aspects of ourself and the world around us. It's truly scary, isn't it? And many, and this is the thing, is many demons were deities, gods and goddesses, god forms of pre-Christian pagan religions that were, and we'll get into this a little bit, demonized by the early Christian religion because they wanted everyone to become Christians, so they made everything else evil, bad, etc. But anyways, so just a little bit, to kind of talk about what demonolatry is as a spiritual practice. Some will call it a religion. It is a religion of the self. Meaning a lot of what we do is self-work to better ourselves. Truly evil and diabolical, I know. It's about discovering, and this is from demonolatry.org, it's about discovering the divine power within us and living within balance of the energies that we work with. And that balance is key, because I do talk about that a lot throughout the history of this channel. Balance. That is the key thing in all of this, because I see people so unbalanced if they are like on the edgelord, black magic, sorcery, perpetuating negative stereotypes, or the love and light worker who looks down their nose at everyone else like pusillanimous pieces of turd stuck to their shoe. It is about you own it. You own yourself. It is about your self-responsibility and inner peace. That is the ultimate goal here, inner peace. Through working with demons. It's possible. It's a journey. It's not always an easy journey. And the demonic divine love to teach, and spirits in general love to teach lessons, especially when you need it. And sometimes I think that's why people think that they had a bad experience with demons because they didn't get what they want, or they got it, but it was just different than what they expected, or it took longer and they didn't realize that. Because I've had this happen. 3 years out, I'm like, oh, I get it now, Lucifer. I get it. Okay. I thought this didn't work. It technically didn't work because there was something much bigger in my personal development, growth, and expansion that needed to happen. So that be that. The next up, I want to talk about the term demonize, demonization, and all of that. So to demonize something is to intentionally portray it as evil, wicked, threatening, not of God. So when I mentioned earlier that a lot of what we know to be demons are ancient gods and goddesses from pre-Christian pagan religions and mythologies and cultures and things like that around the world. To demonize something is like peak a cultural, I can't say cultural appropriation, but it's like it is appropriation in a way, is that you're taking something that has a meaning and then you're changing it based on your worldview, your beliefs, your thing. Well, it may not be true, but you're making it true because you've now taken something that was sacred to someone else, another group of people, and turned it into a vile, evil, disgusting thing. And shame on you for that. So I would highly recommend, I just finished reading this earlier today, is a very, it's an amazing book. She has some other ones I'm going to read as well. I believe, I don't know a whole lot about it. I believe she's a biblical scholar. Her name is Elaine Pagels. And the book I read, it was called The Origin of Satan, How Christians Demonize Jews, Pagans, and Heretics. Highly recommended. It's not something that's putting anything above or below or anything. It's just very looking at all of the historical things that are written, all the stuff in the biblical lore that supposedly came directly from Jesus, the things that were were modified and changed over the years by in the Gospels and the Apostles, all the things that were left out in the apocryphal texts, like, in early Christian times, there was a mother goddess. I believe Ashira. There might have been a couple other ones too. Those were omitted from the Bible. A lot of what we now know to be demons were gods and goddesses from other cultures. Like, okay, the Goetic demon Astaroth. That is derivative of Astarte, Ishtar, Inanna, and that comes from sort of the wide, depending on the times, in that sort of rubric of Canaanite, Phoenician, Mesopotamian, all in that sort of sphere, and those different regions. But so Astarte, a goddess of love and war and other things, became this hideous male demon with poisonous breath and stuff like that. That's really freaking rude. I'm sorry. But you took this goddess of beauty and love and demonized her and turned her into a male demon, there's many other examples of this. A lot of what we see as demonic were gods and goddesses of other cultures. And, it's, I don't know if there's a way to undemonize the world, but a lot of what I try to talk about is to get people to understand alternate perspectives on things. So why is the demonic always viewed as evil? And I see this even in other practitioners in the sphere of the occult, witchcraft, folk traditions. They still carry over those Christian and mainstream religion superstitions and the appropriative designations of ancient pagan deities that were demonized in the rise of Christianity. There's still that fear there of, oh, I don't work with demons. Oh my God, that's just so, what's wrong with you? Like, you get a lot of that kind of, like, I don't care who you work with. I'm not called to work with the Fae, or I'm not called to work with the Norse pantheon. I'm not going to tell you it's all crap and they're all evil demons. That's just shitty. So this is just, this isn't going to be a super long video, but I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about what, to me, and within my practice of demonolatry, how we view the demonic divine and demons. So in conclusion, within all things, there is inherent polarity. No one is all good. No one is all evil. No one religion is right, while all others are bad, evil, corrupt, and wrong. Now, people can go about things very wrong ways. Don't get me wrong. Hi, religious cults and spiritual cults exist, and they can be hella toxic, deadly, evil, and whatnot. But to say all practitioners of this particular faith and religion are evil or whatever is I don't know, shitty. But all things require balance, in that even seemingly innocuous things can become deadly. Too much or too little water can be deadly. Too much of one medication, not enough, can be deadly. We need water to live. We need our medications sometimes to sustain life for us and to make our lives easier to manage. Our bodies are made of water, but when things are out of balance, therein lies the danger. It's looking at the deluge versus the drought. Well, in between a flood and desiccation of the land, there's a happy medium in between. And there's a spectrum within that happy medium in which we can coexist there. So the other thing, and I've probably said this a little bit, is whether or not you agree or accept other people's spiritual practices or beliefs, it costs you nothing to show respect and learn a thing. And I was thinking about this today as I was running errands. I'm like, if we were all the same, the world would be really freaking boring. If it was all, and even if it was all people exactly like me, and I'm freaking awesome. So I would get sick. I would just be like, this is boring. If the world was, everyone was all Satanist, or everyone was all Christian, or everyone was all, this, that, or the other thing. I value individuality. I value self-expression. I do not value conformity, like in that mind control kind of thing. Like, if my church is telling me that I need to hate XYZ group of people because demonized and they're bad and evil and against God, yeah, fuck that. Like, I don't know. But it costs you nothing to show respect to someone else. And I tend to, I'm neurodivergent, so I can be inadvertently blunt. I know I can be inadvertently blunt. I don't always know when I'm being inadvertently blunt. So, that is what it is. But I think that, I tend to treat people the way they treat me. If you're gonna come at me being disrespectful, I'm just gonna be like, hi, bye. Anywho, so, and to wrap up here, the last point is, well, for me, being a demonolatrist, we might work with the demonic divine, but many of us also work with other types of spirits as well, angels, archangels, God forms, our higher selves, other types of spirits, ancestors, spirit guides, all that. Now, whilst I have some religious trauma based ill will towards sort of the rubric of the church, as it were, and certain things, I do accept all religions as valid expressions of one's faith and spirituality. Now, whether or not I think it's stupid or legit is neither here nor there. Like, that's something I have problems with. Like, I have problems with religion when it starts to interfere. Like, I don't care what you do in the privacy of your own home and in your life. It impacts me not at all. It does not impact me. So I don't care. But, if you're trying to legislate and enforce your doctrine and dogma onto how I live in my household, that's also none of your damn business. That I take issue with. Anyways, so this is what I'm saying here. And it's like, to reiterate, I do accept all religions as valid and valid expressions of one's faith and spirituality, and you should too. It's not very Christian to pop onto people's YouTube videos and slam their beliefs, call them evil, and tell them that they're going to rot in hell because they are evil. I'm far from evil, sadly. Sorry to disappoint, but I'm a decent human being who does the best and tries to do the best every day, and to evolve and to change and to do better. Do I fail at it sometimes? Of course, I'm human, you know. Anyways, so I hope this gives you a little kind of short TLDR view of how we look at demons and what they are. And I'm not going too much into how they work because that is very different. And a lot of that is up to your perceptions. So, I may work with Lucifer very different than you work with Lucifer, or we may work with them very similarly. It's luck of the draw. So anyways, thank you for watching. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. Be sure to sign up for our e-newsletter, follow us on social media so you know what we're up to at any given time. New products, new releases, new videos, because algorithms suck, y'all. And if you really love us, please consider joining our memberships. We have support tiers from like $1 to $10 a month. And it helps us bring you awesome new content. As you can see, this is only a very small part of my occult libraries, some behind my head, another bookshelf behind me, and then books everywhere because I'm always reading 100 different things at once. Anyways, I love you all. Thank you for watching. Mwah. Bye.